Hello people and welcome to a short video tutorial for Sisay Weatherlight Captain and a few combos that she could go for. You could call this video a combo tutorial. Now obviously she could go for any combo of any sort you would like because she is in fact a 5-color commander, so there you have it. However, in this video we're gonna be focusing on only combos that specifically Sisay could go for because she's finding legendary stuff. However, before we begin looking at different combos for Sisay, there are 3 things we need to think about before we select our game plan. Let's begin with looking at Teferi, Time Reveler. It's a 3 mana cost legendary planeswalker, blue, white and 1 generic that reach. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they could cast a sorcery. That is really important. The -3. Return up to 1 target artifact, creature or enchantment to its owner's hand and you draw a card. I am not going to focus at the +1 ability in this video. Now Teferi is very similar to a Grand Abolisher. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifact, creatures or enchantments. And these 2 cards are basically protection for your combo during your turn. And this is huge. You see, Sisay is able to find Teferi in your last opponent's end step, and then take your turn and then win without your opponents able to actually interact with you. Also, she's putting Teferi into play without putting him on the stack, because she's fetching him. The only way to interact with this and stop this from happening is if an opponent is interacting with your activated ability from Sisay in any form of way. This is something Sisay has a patent on. She's the only commander in the game that is able to put a Teferi, a similar Grand Abolisher, into play from your library in instant speed without putting him on the stack, and therefore, in my opinion, I think Teferi is an auto include in every Sisay build. Also, -3, you can remove a stacks piece that is interacting and making it possible for you to combo off and win, on the same time gaining protection from your opponents to win during your turn. However, finding Teferi is an activation, and that takes us to the second part that we need to talk about before we proceed looking at different combos. The amount of activations needed to win the game with your commander Sisay. For example, let's say we have 1 activation per turn with our commander from Mana Dorks, Mana Rocks and Lands. And let's say we want to find 2 specific legendary permanents that are gonna win the game for us. So in our last opponent's end step, we use 1 of our activations and find Nagella the Blade Blossom. Then we take our turn, we untap and we activate Sisay and we find the Revi Imperial Tactician. Now we have the win. But we never found Teferi in this situation, and therefore we don't have protection, and therefore our opponents could destroy Nagella, and then we have to rebuild. If you would have had 2 activations per turn, you could have found Teferi, then found the Revi, and then take your turn and find Nagella. And in this situation, you'd have won the game without your opponents able to interact with you. But we can't always guarantee that we're going to have 2 activations to win the game. Usually you're going to have 1 activations to win the game, and therefore your combo with Sisay should require a really low amount of activations so that you're always able to find Teferi before you take your turn and then win on your turn with only 1 activation. That takes us to the third part we need to talk about, the setup, the timing window. You see, from time to time, your opponents are gonna tap out and there's a timing window where you could go for it and it's time to win. Assemble your combo, but you can't because Sisay is too small. Sisay Weatherlight Captain gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents you control. Secondary ability, search your library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisays Power. So the first activation, you're gonna find something at CMC 1 that is something like Oath of Nissa. And now Sisay is a 3/3. We can't actually find Nagella because Nagella has a CMC of 3 and Sisay has a power of 3 and her power needs to be above the CMC. So you have to find something like Lilnvala, Azorius Renegade or something of that sort before. Now Sisay becomes a 5/5 and now you're able to find Nagella. So there is a build up and therefore your combo shouldn't require a little bit too high on the CMC to assemble. I think it's time to proceed with the video and start looking at various combos, finally. But whenever we're looking at a combo, we're gonna review them looking back at these 3 things and look at different pros and cons between them. Now let's begin with looking at a combo that we've already used as an example. Now you could play Nagella the Blade Blossom as your commander, but you could also play Sisay as your commander, having these two cards inside your 99 and then using Sisay to find them. This combo would be weak on protection. We already made an example how this requires 2 activations and therefore you can't really find Teferi, so that's a problem. Also, this combo requires something of a setup. Now, Sisay has to become a 4/4 to be able to find these 2 cards. That is not really a problem. However, the part where you need to hit face with 5 creatures to gain infinite combat steps, and that is also 5 creatures plus the amount of blockers your opponent has, and therefore winning with this combo requires something of a setup. Sisay might need to find a few more creatures to put into play before you're able to win the game. Let's proceed with combo number 2, Bolas Citadel. Now with Bolas Citadel you may cast cards from the top of your library by paying life, and you could build something of a storm deck, a storm win, where you win with Aetherflux Reservoir, and you just go through your entire deck with Bolas Citadel. And Bolas Citadel is a legendary card, so therefore Sisay can find it. However, to be able to find it, she has to become a 7/7 power above the CMC of 6, so that is definitely a huge setup. You need to really build on Sisay until you're able to find it, so therefore your timing window is gonna be a little bit tricky. However, this is only one Sisay activation, and that means that on your turn you will find Bolas Citadel, but in your last opponent end step you find Teferi Time Reveler, and then you have protection, then you have your Bolas Citadel, and then you win. The only problem with this is that it's a deck construction demand. Your CMC inside deck has to be really low in general to make this functional, so you don't die during your storm run, and there's a huge build-up for Sisay. But after that, it's a really good combo in general. Combo number 3, Aggravated Assault, a red enchantment that will untap all of your creatures and give you an additional combat step, and this is an enchantment Sisay can tutor for. Now hold on, this is in legendary, Sisay can't find it, but there is this legendary guy that goes by the name of Sir the Enchanter. When Sir the Enchanter attacks, search your library for an enchantment with CMC 3 or less and put it directly into play. Now what is actually Aggravated Assault going to do for our deck? With enough mana dorks inside your deck and in play, you can turn your Aggravated Assault into a 1-card infinite mana and infinite combat step combo. So you would have something like 5 mana dorks, then you have infinite combat steps. If you have 6 mana dorks and you're able to produce Verberg and additional dread, you gain infinite CC activations, and from here you can basically win the game in any form of way you want, and combat beating down your opponent's face could be the win. So this actually demands a huge setup to be a 1-card combo, but you could tutor for the Aggravated Assault and put it into play, tap your mana dorks and gain infinite mana and infinite combat steps and then win the game. But let's look at the pathway with Sir the Enchanter. The big problem here is that you have to find Sir in your last opponent's end step, and therefore you can't really find Teferi in your last opponent's end step, because Sir can't attack the turn you find him because he's suffering from summoning sickness. Therefore you have to find him during your opponent's turn, so you can't find Teferi. But when you do, you attack, you find Aggravated Assault. You haven't tapped any mana whatsoever so far, so activate Aggravated Assault and untap Sir. Then Sir can attack again, and this time you find Cryptolic Rite. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Suddenly Sisay can tap for mana. So now you have possibly infinite combat steps with your flying Sir. And if your opponent doesn't have any flyers, and you have 5 other creatures besides Sir, you have infinite combat steps with Sir, and you have infinite find your all enchantments through your entire deck, by the way. The next combo I would like to talk about is Godo Helm. So activate Sisay, find Godo. Godo will ETB trigger and find Helm of the Host. Pay 5 mana and attach the Helm of the Host to Godo, and from here you have infinite tokens of Godo and infinite combat steps, and you will win the game by just attacking over and over. Now, you don't have to attack with the original Godo, therefore he could be suffering from the summoning sickness, therefore you could actually find Teferi during your last opponent's end step. However, there is a lot of different problems here. You see, you have to activate Sisay, and then you have to pay 5 mana to equip the item to Godo, so that's a 10 mana to win on the spot. You could find Godo in your last opponent's end step, take your turn and then pay 5 mana after you've untapped and equipped the Helm to Godo, but in this case you won't have protection with Teferi. Now I want to showcase a combo everyone else is currently doing. Fast as Oracle and then Money Consultation. With Money Consultation you will destroy your entire library. Then with Fast as Oracle you will win the game if your library is less than amount of devotion to blue or equal to devotion of blue. However, in the beginning of the video I did mention that we weren't going to look at combos that aren't legendary. Combos that Sisay can't tutor for. However, the Jace Wielder of Mysteries is a legendary card. For every other deck out there that is running the Fastest Oracle Demonic Consultation combo, it's a 2-card combo. But for Sisay, it's a 1-card combo, because she's able to tutor and find Jace Wielder of Mysteries. So you only actually need Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pact in your hand, and that's the only card you need to find. So what you do when you have it is that you tutor for Teferi. In your last opponent end step, you now have protection. Then tutor for Jace, and then you cast Demonic Consultation, which means you only need Verberg and 1 black mana to win the game when you have this in your hand. Before we proceed and look at the final combo I want to showcase, I want to mention that there are so many legendary, cool combos out there that are something Sisay could actually go for. And I can't showcase all of them, but I'm gonna showcase my favorite one now. Here it comes. Sisay Super Friends is a 3-card Planeswalker combo with a Mana to the Fate Shifter, Nicobolus the Dragon God, and Oath of Teferi. Now, Nicobolus the Dragon God has all other activated abilities of Planeswalkers, for example the -1 from Emanatu, exile another target permanent you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. And because of Oath of Teferi, each Planeswalker you control have 2 activations. So for example, Emanatu could flicker Nicobolus the Dragon God and a land, and from here Nicobolus the Dragon God would flicker Emanatu and another land. So here you have infinite activations from your Planeswalkers and infinite mana. And with infinite mana and infinite Planeswalker activations, you could tutor for Ashok Dream Render and then minus infinitely until all your opponent's libraries are gone. Or you could simply sit there and just +1 Nicobolus the Dragon God infinitely, drawing your entire deck and exiling all of your opponent's hands and board state. Hold on now, this is a 3-card combo, but there is actually a lot of different ways to assemble this from only 1 card. Let's begin with Dockside Extortionist. If your opponents control 5 or more enchantments and artifacts together, cast this, you will generate 5 treasures, spend 5 of those to activate Sisay and find Aminato the Fate Shifter minus Aminato and flicker the Dockside Extortionist. Therefore, you will have 5 more treasures, activate Sisay again, and find Nicobolus the Dragon God. Nicobolus has the same ability as Aminato, so flicker Dockside Extortionist again, and this time you will activate and find Oath of Teferi. So here is a 1 card that could assemble this entire package. Also, we have Treachery. When Treachery comes into play, untap 5 lands, so you will flicker Treachery with your Aminato, and from this you will also climb the ladder and find these 3 cards. So there are several different 1-card combos that will assemble this entire chain. We also have a card that goes by the name of Orochi Leafcaller. Cast it for 1 green mana, then activate Sisay for Verberg and find Gaia's Cradle. If you have 5 creatures in play, 3 more including these 2, you will tap it for 5 green mana, use that 5 green mana and transform it to any color you want, Verberg, to find Darevi, Imperial Practitioner, ETB, untap the Gaia's Cradle, then tap it once more, and now you find Aminato that will flicker the land, tap it, find Nicobolus that will also flicker the land, and then you continue the chain onward. Also, with the 2 cards Fabro Elder and Bloom Tender, you could tap them for Verberg and then find Darevi that will ETB and untap one of these 2 creatures. Also, you could go to attack with Sisay and hit face to get a secondary Darevi trigger if they actually don't tap for Verberg. That could actually help out quite a lot. And then you activate and find Aminato the Fate Shifter that will flicker Darevi and that will untap the Bloom Tender again, and then you continue on the chain. So far, we've only looked at cards that aren't legendary that Sisay can't tutor for, but here we have an example of a legendary card that Sisay can tutor for that will also help us win the game through this pathway. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. Tap 1 green, then tap her, add X mana of any color combinations to your mana pool color combinations. Therefore, you could actually add white, blue, black, red, and green. Equal to the highest power of creatures. So if Sisay is a 6/6, you will add green, green, then white, blue, black, and red. And from here you have Verberg. Then tutor and find Darevi, untap Selvala, use the green to tap and add a new set of green, green, then white, blue, black and red, and then continue on the chain. It is possible to have protection because you could find Teferi Time Reveler in your last opponent end step before you cast Dockside Extortionist in your turn. Also, you only need one activation because we're gonna get several extra activations during the combo run, and Sisay only needs to be a 4/4. And it is really consistent because there are so many variations of one card combos that would assemble this pathway. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video and that it brought you something. I would like to give an extra special thanks to all of my patrons that supports me and helps this channel to grow. And if you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link down below will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.